An organized lie defeats an unorganized truth every time. Ooh, wee. You dig me? Let's get this going. Organized lie. Got the feedback. You know we lied. Yeah, let me handle that feedback. Every time. Ooh, wee. Let me handle that feedback. You dig? Okay, hold on. Let's get this going. All right, the feedback is handled. Okay, where's my mouse? I can't work this. Oh boy. I ain't got a mouse. Okay, all right. That is too loud. Okay. Love, joy, peace. So I realized I'm reviewing their information. I'm like, the only way I can lose to these guys, like the top dogs, is by an organized lie, and I got a disorganized truth. That's the only way. Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on. Ah. My bad. I'm watching this Tyson Holyfield skit. I'll check it out later. I just want to see what my Tyson gonna give him. What is the gift, Mike? Oh yeah, that was funny. Okay, but I knew it was something to do with the air. I knew it. Okay, so the debate is going to be. He said either February 10th or February 11th. So of course, my voice is better now. My voice is horrible. I got a slight cough that I hope goes away. But for the most part, I'm able to talk. Okay, all right, just making sure. All right, so let me get ready to share my screen. Oh, this is funny right here.
Okay. So I know this is real life people. I'm not even trying to laugh. So I always hear something new when I learn about these groups, right, Alyssa? So that's new. Having to eat a piece of your sandwich and putting on your chapstick, that's a new one to me. You know, sometimes you wonder if they're that paranoid or if they're just trying to flex from the jump.
Yeah.
No, they're
You know,
paranoid.
and they're like, "Well, brother, we need to make sure it's bomb, not a bomb."
You know,
Right.
those guys swear the government.
I mean, they think he's James Bond. He's got a blade up in the
I was
chapstick.
trying to figure out what the chapstick was gonna do. I'm like, y'all think it's a laser or something? Like, I didn't understand.
The sandwich has got a blade in it. Eat that sandwich. Chew, chew, chew. Okay, I'm sorry. Wow. Actually, anything else you got like that, I do appreciate. Because you know what?
Yeah, they're that paranoid.
I
It's
do
a
want to be
power
serious
thing
for a
too.
minute about
They
that.
be
You
power
know,
tripping.
everyone, why is that? I'm gonna tell you why that is real quick. It has to do with the whole overall parameter of this religion. It operates out of fear. These guys will say they're strong and brave, and as we have seen, they can put people in headlocks and all that. Okay, but ultimately, it's from a spirit of fear. Christian church with all of its weaknesses. You don't gotta do your ID, radar, or I'm sorry, not radar, but metal detector. Pull what's out of your pocket. It's not. We're not TSA. Body cavity searches. It's not happening because it's not operating out of a spirit of fear. But these groups operate out of a spirit of fear, and so that sort of hyperactive sense of being afraid. That's why sometimes they act overly aggressive, sort of like preemptive. But okay, I just want people to know there's a real element to things like that. So I feel like the fact that people are willing to put up with something like that, just to kind of get this little bit of this juice, this pseudo knowledge, basically, is fascinating. So he brought his father. Is his father into this now too?
No, so his dad just went with him kind of to just be supportive. He wanted to see, what it was that he was so
So
excited
supposedly
about. So
some
he
guy
agreed
left
to
his
go with him
family
the
for
first time.
one of these camps.
But no, his dad doesn't agree with the beliefs. So yeah, he just went that one time.
Fascinating. Yeah, fascinating. Okay, so you're saying after one time, Alyssa, he goes and comes back a different person?
Hey,
Yes.
brainwashing that
So
fast.
when he first started talking about, this stuff and showing me the videos, the one thing I told him, I was like, I want to be supportive of you. If you want to learn the history, I'll support you. All I ask is that you don't force anything on me and the kids.
Shit.
And
Right.
he's like, okay, I
Not
understand.
you in the coat.
But then, he goes to the Sabbath and he's getting all of this pumped in his head about how women aren't to wear pants, women aren't to do this, women aren't to do that, and blah,
Oh, you done messed up. You done messed up.
blah, 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 whatever else they said. And literally, like the next day, he came home and we were walking our daughter around the neighborhood, and he flat out pretty much called me a whore for having on gym shorts. They were kind of like the yoga shorts. We were walking around the neighborhood, which I had always done. We'd always walk our daughter together, and he
His eyes were open. What you yelling for? What you yelling for? What you yelling for?
was telling he flat out bringing our daughter around the neighborhood, and he flat out pretty much called me a whore for having on gym shorts. They were kind of like the yoga shorts. We were walking around the neighborhood, which I had always done. We'd always walk.
Yeah, you walk around half naked around that damn. Everybody looking. Like, come on, man. Yeah, like ladies, single, do what you want. You got a man. Now, if your man don't give a shit, yeah, do what you want. But if your man feel like you're showing too much, that could potentially cause that house some problems, which you can, because we're definitely looking. We love when y'all wear nothing. All right, stop. We love when y'all wear nothing. So, but if a man wake up one day and say this,
Like the for it and home, and we were walking our daughter around the neighborhood, and he flat out pretty much called me a whore.
You dig? He ate that IUIC apple. Open his eyes.
For having on gym shorts. They were kind of like the yoga shorts. We were walking around the neighborhood, which I had always done. We'd always walk our daughter together, and he was telling me, hey, you know you're gonna have to burn all of those pants and
Burn them.
shorts. And I'm like, wait a minute, we just talked about this. You know, you agreed not to force anything on me.
Yeah, well, listen, sis, you messed up. Okay. IUIC or these cults are all about force. So let the force be with you.
And the kids, and now here you are doing just that. So that's how it all started.
Right.
And still then I didn't realize the depth of what he was getting into.
Oh, he just started.
Until it got to the point where he was probably like a month in, and he started talking about changing his name.
To what, Ben Israel? Yahawada? Yasharala?
So he wasn't there long.
Oh.
Yeah, they work on you fast. Like, just look at the people I be talking to. So, what's the father's name? I'm like, dude, like, leave me on about all that, man. No, but you gotta say the right name. You saying God and God. Dude, I speak English. Okay, so I'm gonna say it in English, just like Spanish folks gonna say it in Spanish and Chinese gonna say it in Chinese. Okay, you speak English too. Okay, I think the Father don't only want you saying his name in the Hebrew tongue, but he also wants you speaking Hebrew, period. But you're not gonna do that. So you just saying one more Hebrew word than me don't make you special, okay?
Has he changed his name?
Yes.
Azariah.
You know, it's not. It is interesting though, the name change thing, because a lot of cultic groups they'll do it under the pretense for something else.
Freddie, if not.
But basically, it's one more way to strip down your identity.
They probably gonna hop
So
on
they
tonight.
remove your old identity, and notice how superficial it is. A name change. It's not actually a new heart. It's not being born again. It's not regeneration. You know, it's these superficial things. Malcolm X, right? Then of course the Moors Bay, and then you've got Son of Israel. You know, with the last name a lot of times, something like that, Ben Israel, Ben Judah, whatever it is. It's not the end of the world, but it just signifies a lot of times a deeper problem, because it's like when you don't have your identity firmly rooted in Christ, you reach and grab for these external, superficial.
They go, Meech. How you let him get away with this? I mean, I thought he said that last night.
Somebody's had sex.
Of a marriageable age. So of course, they still calling this woman a virgin.
How you let him say this? Hey, that's him right there.
Unto the father of the damsel, because he have brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. So even though he brought up an evil name upon her after they already had intercourse, they still calling this woman a virgin.
You see that? And you said this next.
They still calling her a virgin. It just, a virgin mean any woman of a marriageable
I'm like, what? And he was able to say that
age. So you can say that if a man take a wife and go into her and focus in on that.
Wait. If a virgin means a woman, if a virgin means a woman of marriageable age.
Nah, you supposed to challenge that. That dude said you could have sex and still be called a virgin in that context, which was crazy. The guy, what's his name? Harry Rosenberg. He missed the whole point. She was a virgin before they had sex. He went into her and was acting like she was not a virgin before they had sex. That's why it's calling her a virgin. It's saying like you called her virgin, basically a whore, like kind of what her husband called her, a whore, when she never had sex before. So that's why I called her a virgin, because in that state where she was called a whore, she was actually a virgin.
Things to rearrange and change your identity, but ultimately it's about an internal change that only the Holy Spirit can provide when he enacts upon a person's heart and enables them to be born again. Just what Jesus was talking about to Nicodemus in John 3. Were you at any time sort of evangelized in the sense of, hey, you need to make sure your faith is in Christ? Or was that already assumed that you had that? Like, was that ever part of a discussion with the IUIC influence? Like, are you trusting in Christ to forgive your sins? Or have you been born again or anything like that? Do you ever remember anything like that?
No.
Oh,
I
interesting.
remember him telling me that I needed to change my last name to Israel.
I knew it.
Because he said
That's IUIC calling. They want to change to Israel. And you can tell some camps by the last name that they choose. But let me say a lot of these Israelite camps, they have no teaching and no videos on Jesus Christ. Of course, they're not going to have it on Immaculate Conception, but they don't have one on his miracles. They don't have one on like the things he did during his walk. 5 loaves. Feeding the multitudes. You would think you'll be nothing on that. No resurrection. No, he died. He died. Even for Israel, if you think it's Israel, like they got no Jesus doctrine, and like you would be like, yeah, how the hell you messianic? And you believe that this man came down from heaven, took on flesh and blood to die for your past sins, and then be resurrected to later grant you with that rebirth, put on them natural bodies, meant the spiritual bodies, and you act like just ungrateful, like whatever, Moses, and that's kind of what like the Israelites did. The Israelites kind of like the prophets and everybody before them that helped guide them and help make sure it was good. They act like that was nothing. Like, all right, move out the way. Yeah, but that's interesting. Check out these camps videos. Like, look at their videos. Type in Jesus and see what you get. They got videos taken away from them or adding like hatred to them, but like none of them really have a video on Jesus teaching what he actually taught. That's a good thing for mankind, like some charitable things.
my last name was my slave holder's last name, and it got to the point where it got so bad to where he's never met my father. I don't really deal with my father, but it got so bad to the point where he
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You can't really deal with a guy who don't deal with his father and mother, and you can't really deal with a woman who don't deal with their father and mother. Like, there's no, like, we could tell, like, so you should know then. You should know then that both of y'all crazy. He gonna date you and have a kid by you, and this kid never gonna know their grandfather on your side because you don't deal with it. They're weird, and like these kids that be mad at their parents, most times it be the kid. Parent was hard on them, make sure they did the right thing, or kept them away from other folks that did them dirty. Like, y'all heard TJ, you heard T.I.'s son. He was mad that T.I. kept him away from the trap house. I want to go to grandma. He was begging to go. So now had T.I. never said, I go, he'd have hated T.I. He still don't, you see the respect he got from him now. So when kids have an issue with their parents, 9 times out of 10, unless the parents didn't do something, some old crazy, touchy, most likely it's a kid. So never date somebody who's not dealing with one of their parents, because I want to know. I'm not taking your word for shit. I'm not taking your word. Okay? My name is Cam, man. Anybody can get it. I'm not taking your word. Oh, come dating you. No. I want to know from your parents. I want to know what they got to say. Because you know why? I'm unbiased sports. I'm unbiased. I want both sides. I'd never take one side. It could be my op, where like it's my op, it's your op. But you tell me some crazy story about the op. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna listen to you. Like, yeah, that's one side. But I'm gonna snoop around for that op side to get it all.
he would question me almost daily to find out what what ethnicity my father was. He had to know if my father was white
or African.
He was going to stop dealing with you if your father was of the wrong nation.
Right.
Did you know what he was fishing for?
No, I thought that I had an idea because he kept saying that you are what your father is or whatever. He kept saying that. So
Who's your
he was
daddy?
trying to find out whether or not my father was white, but at the time
Or
I didn't
African.
know it was because he was plotting to pretty much walk away if my father was white.
Wow. Wow. Let's quickly flip back over. We've got two people on this interview. If you're just coming in, I'm talking to Alyssa. That's her IG handle. She was in a relationship, essentially like what would be a fiance type relationship, or I don't know what we call it, borderline fiance, something like that. But with her kid's father, had children together, a long-term relationship as far as them even knowing each other. And IUIC came in and
Yeah, that's bad. If you're a woman, you got to look to get married immediately. Okay, because men should be not want to get married. So Kevin Samuels was actually right. When men don't get married, but they could do marriage things, we win. So women should be pushing to get. If I had a daughter, I'd be pushing her to get married. And with a son, I'd be telling him don't get married. You do, because it to me is no win for a man to get married. It's only an L, and for a woman, it's only a win. It's never an L. Because divorce is going to favor alimony. Oh, that's her. Okay, so that's why if I had a daughter, go get married. If I and with a son, don't get married. Or if you're gonna get married, let's just weigh these options. So for her to have these kids and not be married, like Kevin Samuel will rag on you because it's in total L for you. Because now he done left you, went and joined the cult, and now you're stuck with kids. You're stuck with kids. And you look about 33 at the minimum. So good luck dating, this could be rough. And then like this is wild. Like I said before, women, which Kevin Samuel pointed out, women look at divorce worse than being a baby mother. But the rest of the world, they look at divorce as up and down thing that happens, but they look at baby mamas as like just a terrible person, terrible decision, mistake, no responsibility, or just so the world looks at that the opposite than from what black women look at it. They look at divorce as bad and baby mama's okay, but the rest of the world, majority of the world, looks at divorce as a normal thing, normal occurrence that happens, but single parenthood is terrible, especially out of wedlock.
affected him, which negatively affected their relationship. And we're talking about the day. And on the panel, we've got a brother who's an evangelist and apologist, went to the streets, went to the camps there in Detroit and had them closed because of COVID. And we've also got Bree on with us as well, who has a somewhat similar story to Alyssa. I want to allow you guys some time to react and talk to her, and then I have some more questions I'm going to ask her. But
the bat, I told him, I was like, I don't know about this.
I didn't mean to I meant to turn down the brightness, and I hit the damn one whatever, and it went back. Let's see.
Wow.
Okay, we're here.
Get her dressed. I'm taking her with me today. And I'm like, taking her with you where?
Wait, hold on.
The house causing all types of riff.
Oh, but you can't play with Esau. But go ahead.
Right. My question to you would be, how has that affected your relationship with him now? Like, are you guys still together, or now? Are you an IUIC? You're not an IUIC, right?
No, I've never been to the.
Is he okay with that? And
hell no. And if you're listening, but this is why he was so hard on her, because they were shaming him. Most likely, they were shaming him the fact that he could not get his girl to join. And that's why I'm a little iffy about her. Not because she want to join, not joining. That's a smart thing, but also she could have known that she joined. Let's say it was an okay camp, that they were going to definitely force marriage. Because like these cults, they don't really, at least on the surface, agree with shacking up. So like you got to at least say that's your wife at the very least. If not making the marriage legitimate, you got to actually just say it's your wife at the very least. And her demeanor and so far I'm hearing for marriage was something she was just not really into, and she kind of probably felt marriage vibes if they both get involved in that cult or he himself. I think that might have been a concern for her. I could read her soul.
And like, how has that affected his relationship with the kids?
So, mind you, he joined the camp probably a year and a half ago. I was about 6, 7 months pregnant. And because of what happened in my first pregnancy, my pregnancies are very, very high risk. I'm not allowed to be, I'm not supposed to be stressed. I'm not supposed to allow my blood pressure to get too high. And here he is,
Right.
storming the house, causing all types of riffraff. And it was a very stressful environment, and it got to the point where at the time I was the one paying all the bills at the house, and he was coming in pretty much taking over, trying to take over everything, and I didn't like
Wow.
that, especially being that I was the one providing for all of us. So it was really stressful. I was pregnant, about to have the baby, and he was just causing so much strife in the house. It was so much contention, and I couldn't be at peace at home. So eventually what happened was, one morning I woke up and I was about to get my daughter's breakfast ready and everything, and he decided to get up and was like, hey, get her dressed, I'm taking her with me today. And I'm like, taking her with you where? And he's like, I'm taking her to camp with me. I was like, no, you're not. He had already known how I felt about my daughter going, and I told him no. I was like, no, you're not. And he's like, I can take my daughter with me if I want to. I told him, try it. So from then he left, and at that point,
Isn't that both of y'all daughter? But anyway, now you did it good. You did the right thing. You did the right thing. But I'm saying like he could have taken her. That's his daughter too. Like, but I'm saying you did the right thing, but you didn't do the legal thing, the right legal thing. Because he could have literally, hey, I'm taking her, I'm gonna call the cops. Shit.
point, my blood pressure was sky high, because at this point I can't trust the man to respect my wishes when it comes to my child. So I called his mom that day, and I was just like, hey, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this right now. This is stressing me out. I'm not supposed to be stressed. I'm not supposed to let my blood pressure get too high. I'm about to have this baby. I can't do this right now. So what happened was, they lived like 5 minutes away from me, and I talked to his mom, and she pretty much helped me get his things and bring it to her house. So I couldn't do this while I was pregnant. It was too much, and I couldn't risk what happened with my first child happening again. So from then, he was back at his parents' house, but the problem with that was he was away from all responsibility. He was no longer doing anything for the children at all. And he wasn't doing much when he joined IUIC, because
he felt like those kids was those kids are Satan kids. He definitely. Oh, hey yo, do y'all know about the nigga woman doctrine? Oh man, yo, GMS made the nigga woman doctrine hot. Let me see if there's any video clips, because I know he was going there next with her. So there was a hot nigga woman doctrine about 7 7 years ago, 7 to 10 years ago. Let me see. Oh my God, they probably YouTube probably clean them all up. Yeah, that ain't it. That ain't it. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's some white man stuff. Let me see. I mean, these were all over the place. And I think, yeah, I think they cleaned them all. Yeah, that's amazing. So y'all be saying YouTube is racist. It cleaned up all the YouTube cleaned up all of these yeah. I probably got going. What's that? Okay. What is that website? Daily Motion. Okay, I gotta go there. All right. It might be here still. God damn, can I type? Oh, I do shit without a mouse, man. Really? I can't type nothing. All right, hold on. What the hell's going on? Oh, I gotta click that. Man, come on. All right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Look, it's right here. It's right here. Look, 14 years ago. I was not lying. 14, 14 years ago, 13 years ago, 12 years ago. Look, all different channels, 12 years ago, 14 years ago. I told you I was not playing 14 years ago. Out of her mind, 13 years ago. Yeah, this was, look, foolish. I'm telling you, look, yo, this was the thing to do at that time. All these One West camps had a video titled this. Look, all of them had I'm not lying, man. All of them had this title. So okay, so my point for bringing that up was that's where he was going next with her. Guarantee you.
Because he was always so consumed with IUIC. Like from the moment he joined the camp, or the moment he visited the camp, now every day he's doing these Zoom calls when he gets off of work. He's on the Zoom calls for about 2 hours. I've already had my daughter fed, bathed, and in the bed. You know, he's not spending any time with family. Right. And then every free moment he has, you know, the weekends, he's going up there for the Sabbath. So we hardly ever seen him. He wasn't doing much before. But after he went back to his parents' house, he stopped taking care of my daughter altogether. I would ask him, you know, I was about to have the baby, so I put my oldest daughter in daycare. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm about to put the baby in daycare, so I won't have both kids by myself during the day while I'm trying to cope with the newborn. And I asked him, I was like, you know, can you help me out with the daycare? You know, if you could just pay half, that'd be a big help.
3 kids, not married. I'm telling you, normally something like that, it's the man dodging marriage. Women like, hey, let's get married. It's the man like making excuses, but for her not to, I don't know. I just find something's off with her. Then she don't mess with her father. She got a 3rd kid and she's not looking at marriage at all. Like, yeah, I find something off with her. So like she definitely, by her being off, she chose an off guy.
He told me, his exact words were, I don't feel like I should have to pay anything because you can keep them.
Dang.
Those are his exact words to me. And from then I just didn't say anything. I never asked him for another dime. Like I never asked him for a dime at all. I would tell him what the kids need. He would either refuse or he would tell me he'd do it and then never did. So my next step was going to file for assistance, you know, the child support. And that opened a big can of worms. He did not like that. So what happened was when I put him on child support, he became very angry. He was really upset that I put him on child support. It was all about, oh, you got the white man in our business and this,
Oh, yeah.
this, and that. Mind
that's
you,
them.
he hadn't been taking care of the kids. I had been fully taking care of them
The white man.
financially and
South
physically by
Florida white man.
myself. He wasn't seeing them. He wasn't trying to see them. He wasn't checking on them, nothing. So what ended up happening was after he moved back to his parents' house, eventually, you know, I was in the hospital I was having some type of complications with my youngest daughter. I was in a lot of pain, and I called him, and he didn't answer the phone for me. So at the time, my grandma is at home with my oldest daughter, and I called him because she had to go to work, and I'm like, hey, you know, can you go home? Can you go to the house and get Yayla? I'm in the hospital. I don't know if I'm about to have the baby or not, but I'm in a lot of pain. I called him crying. He didn't answer the phone, so I called his mom. She gave him the phone, and he's like, where's your grandma? And I was like, she has to go to work. Right. So I was like, she has to go to work. And he's like, well, I'm tired. And I was like, so are you not going to go get her? He said, no. I said, okay, and hung up the phone. So after that, I ended up having the baby. I did not contact him. I didn't tell him anything until after I came home from the hospital with the baby. So from then, he came over, he took a couple pictures, and he didn't try to see her again after that. By then he was knee deep in IUIC. So I couldn't get him to help me with the kids. I couldn't get him. He just completely neglected the kids altogether, physically, financially, everything. So when I put him on child support, that he didn't like that. And what happened was he went almost a complete year without doing anything at all for our children, and I mean nothing. Like from last June all the way till I think this February, he did absolutely nothing for our kids. He barely seen them. He didn't ask to see them. My youngest daughter is 1 year old, and I can count on probably one hand how many times she's seen this man. And
Yeah.
he's yet to do anything for her. So as far as his relationship with my youngest daughter, he doesn't have one. He doesn't have one at all. My oldest daughter, he was around for the first 9 months. When she was a baby. So she knows her dad and she loves her dad, but he doesn't. He refused to do anything for them. He refused to see them. What he told me was if he couldn't take them to the camp with him, he didn't have to see them. That's exactly what he said. So it's definitely had a negative effect on his relationship with his kids, as well as, you know, our relationship together.
And I can relate to that. Cornelius has not seen the kid. He's seen them once since the separation, and that was kind of like that was what, a couple months ago. I decided, you know, our kids haven't seen you in over a year. I now have your address because he had refused to give me the address after he moved when we got here to our new home. So after he filed the divorce complaint, I had his address because his address is on the divorce complaint. So me and the kids drove the 6 hours all the way to Pennsylvania to see him, knocked on his door, so he could see his kids. He was not happy at all to see us. And he told us, I don't know why y'all thought this was okay. Pretty much told us, you know, I'm not allowed to see y'all, and y'all need to go.
Dang.
So it was the middle of the night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And I told him, like, we're not going anywhere. It's the middle of the night. I don't know anybody else here. So we ended up staying. He woke us up bright and early the next morning and was like, y'all got to go. So my kids got to see him for all of 10, 12 hours, including sleeping. Other than that, he has not made any effort to see them. He has refused every effort I've made for him to see them, including driving all the way there.
Yeah, it's crazy, but those guys might as well stay in that cult, because when they snap out of that cult and they realize like all the lost time they had, they ruined their families, they ruined relationships with their girl and their kids. Man, yo, that's gonna bother them. That's gonna bother them like nothing else, man. They might be up on crack and they realize how much time went by and it was in a cult. That's the only thing about a cult. When you get out of a cult, like you just feel so stupid. Like, oh my God. Then you think about all the opportunities that was missed, all the time that was missed. You be like, oh, that was dummy. That was a dummy. It's almost like a prison sentence, for real, for real.
Meeting me halfway, meeting me at his dad's house, his mom offering to be there as a mediator for all of us to go together for breakfast. Um, and when we first got here, he didn't help out at all either. It wasn't until he was ordered by the court to pay child support that he started to help because it's court ordered. He don't really have a choice.
Right.
But other than that, he told me that he's not allowed to be involved in our kids' lives because
Okay,
they're
let
doomed
me
to
get that
hell
damn transformer thing, bro.
because they are being raised Christian. So I can 100% vouch for what you are saying. I don't at all think you're lying.
Did he actually say hell?
Yes.
So that's interesting because I've heard some things about IUIC maybe adopting some version of hell, which would be a departure from historic One West. Unless he means hell in some kind of figurative sense, because a lot of the Hebrews, like groups of One West variety, don't believe in hell like an eternal conscious torment. They believe in an everlasting kingdom.
And yeah, and I swear, man, this is why I think some of their founders were from the Nation of Islam. Because that's Elijah Muhammad doctrine, man. The white man and all this and hell. Yeah, there's no hell. Hell. If y'all listen to, just go watch Malcolm X, the little movie with Denzel. Hell is a state of mind. This is Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Hell's a state of mind, state of being. You know what? I think one day I'm gonna play my Dr. Khalid Muhammad video.
And then for the nations, they're going to be subservient. They're going to be there in the kingdom with them, except for Esau, who's vanquished after 1,000 years. But they don't have any concept of hell. ICGJC, towards the end of, well, actually before the end of his life, but during Tazadakia's tenure, started embracing hell. I wonder if IUIC has as well. The fact that he would say that. Yo, Dez, you've been here for a minute. Haven't got
Yes,
to hear
sir.
from you. You're here in the discussion. Some people are asking why we're doing this discussion. What's the point of the show? What's the purpose here? Des, what is the purpose of this show?
I mean, it's to continue to, highlight and expose the darkness of cults like IUIC. What I find to be interesting is that you have men in IUIC, apparently, that they won't take care of home, but they'll take care of Nate's Booster Club, for example, right? But on top of that, it's crazy to me that a group like IUIC that prides themselves on being men of valor and honor, right, and order, but they'll let something like this happen and go on in their camp, all in the name of knowing who they are, and embracing their heritage. But at the end of the day, what's sad about this is that they're denying Christ, the biblical gospel, also for worshiping of self and honestly the worshiping of Nate. That's just what this is. They will take care of Nate, but they won't take care of home, and that's it's sad. It's really sickening.
Well, of course, according to Asaph, who's responded a number of times to Bree's interviews, there's no man on the planet who has opened up the Bible and taught it to the capacity that the bishop has. So you got to take care of that man. He's a special treasure.
I think they said he was Elijah or Peter, something like that. They weren't sure.
No.
It was like
You're not
celebrity
sure.
shop.
We know he's somebody special.
He's reincarnated too.
He's somebody special.
I think it's like you said, a tactic. I think it's manipulation for the sake of control. I think they encourage women to stay home and not have jobs and rely solely on their husbands and to have a large family so that they rely solely on the husband. And like many other cults, to cut off your family, your friends, and anybody who isn't in this camp. So
that's the old American way until Margaret Sanger saved y'all. White men to come home. Their woman had like 6 babies. Man, he off running around the neighborhood, screwing everybody because you home. 6 kids. You can't chase after him.
So when you try to leave, you don't really have anything or anyone else to go to, so you're pretty much stuck
Yeah,
in your
because you didn't
situation.
shunned your family to keep with that
And I
nigga.
think that's why
Your family said don't date him. He's a weirdo. He's a cult. He's in the cult. I love him. So you cut your family off for him. Then when he cut you off, you just cut off.
a lot of the families who are there and would like to leave are afraid to leave. I think it's a sense of control and fear.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right about that. So some people were asking, we'll ask this question once, you're prior to this discussion, and even maybe prior to the past couple years, Alyssa, what was your relationship like with the Lord? What was your understanding of Scripture? Where were you at with all this prior to this?
So prior to all of this happening, I can admit that I didn't really have a relationship with the Lord. I thought that I did when I lost my son. That was the darkest time of my life. That's when I cried out to him the most. But I was still in my sin, if that makes sense. I was still with this man. We weren't married. We were still fornicating, and at the time I didn't see it that way. I seen it as, we're together, we have kids together, we live together. In my mind, we were married, so I didn't see what I was doing as wrong. And even though I thought that I had a relationship with God, I honestly can't tell you the last time that I picked up my Bible before all of this happened. Now I read my Bible daily. Like, I hate that I was not equipped with the knowledge to know
Understand what you're reading. Bless you.
enough to kind of stop him at the gates before he was sucked all the way in. I knew enough to, save myself. I knew something didn't sound right. I knew enough to pretty much keep myself afloat, but I had to sit and watch somebody that I love deeply sink. And that I blamed myself for so long, because I didn't have that relationship with the Lord like I should have. I wasn't well versed. I wasn't in the scriptures. And I blamed myself.
Yeah, you're gonna struggle trying to have a good relationship with the spiritual father. You don't have a good one with your physical father. You definitely gonna have some issues there.
So to answer that question, I didn't. I honestly can say I didn't have a relationship with the Lord. Not as good as one as I thought at the time.
And so, you're pretty young. You're turning, I think, 22.
Yes.
So, was that okay to say? I didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so make sure. Now I got worried. You answered so slow.
22.
But
I got it.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're pretty young. You're turning, I think, 22.
Yes.
So, was that okay to say? I didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so make sure.
Well, how many kids you got? No way. I knew something was up with her. Yo, you 22 with 3 kids already? By yourself? Nah, you might as well join the cult. I'm gonna be dead ass honest. You might as well join the cult with him. Yeah, no. You should join the cult with him. 22 with 3 damn kids. That is crazy, yo. That is crazy.
Now I got worried. You answered so slow. But
and separated. 3 kids and separated. 22 years old. You're gonna have a long, miserable love life if he don't come back to you. God, 22. You could kiss anybody your age goodbye dating. You're gonna need to date somebody my age, like a 40, some more crazy 45, 43-year-old man. Ain't nobody your age dealing with that. Because they might have one at the very least.
And you've admitted, prior, you made mistakes. Those are mistakes. You're not proud of those things. It's not how you wanted it. And you've grown and learned a lot since then. In fact, when we talked earlier, you said that one good thing, if I heard you right, that came out of this is it challenged you to open up your Bible and understand it better for yourself and get closer to the Lord yourself. Was I hearing you right on that?
Yeah, spot on. That's exactly what it did. I kind of, as I was explaining to someone else, that it's like I was literally in a spiritual battle. I was being pulled in one direction, he was being pulled in another. And I was really confused for a while because I had never heard of this stuff. I had never heard of anyone going through this. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was alone. So all I could do was open my Bible and try to find answers to the things that he was saying. And it's like everything that I read was the opposite of what he was reading, and I just couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand. I wasn't in the church. I didn't have a pastor that I could go to and talk to. I didn't have family members that, knew anything about this. So I was in a really, really lonely state of mind, and it made me feel like I was losing myself.
22. That's bad.
So yeah, it definitely made me open my Bible. That's the one thing that I can say was the best thing that came from this.
Tone said, how you know you
Well,
got
you're
a
not alone. On
relationship
Facebook, we have Joy watching, and she
relationship with
says,
the
honey,
Lord? How is it confirmed?
you are
Right.
literally telling my story. You are not alone.
I'm sure the most racist black man, white man, Chinese man, Jewish man would think they got a good relationship with their God. I'm sure. We see those mafia guys. They be going to the confession booth, killing like 10 people, and they be swearing they religious. And they probably swear they got some type of relationship. It's a good question for Toro. Because everybody would love to believe like they have a good, special, and unique relationship with their God. And how's it confirmed? Like delusion?
And I think that's one reason you wanted to come out and talk about this, even though you have to we all do, our own faults and flaws on display for people to see and judge and then be misjudged and mislabeled, which they're of course going to do. They'll pick this interview apart, take little.
And don't y'all hornbugs even think about trying to date her. Oh, some young kids. Yo, that man will kill you. That man, that coach will kill you. All right? So don't even think about, she young, 3 kids, I could take care of her. That man will kill you. That coach member serious.
Parts, give their commentary, and basically make their followers think that you're the worst person ever besides Bree. That's what they're. Well, besides me too. But you get the idea. You know this. But there's people who hear this and are like, oh, and there are men too. It's not just women, but there's a lot of women who are afraid to come out. But there's also a lot of men who are very afraid to come out as well. And so I just encourage you. A lot of people in the live chat are definitely hearing you and agreeing with your story here. And so, guys, I pray that if you're a believer out there, yes, keep Bree in prayer as she grows in Christ and as she works through this, and also Alyssa. I mean, she's the one who we're really trying to hear her story here today. Sonia says, "Sis, I'm proud of you, both speaking up. I too married to one, but was forced to leave the home we both purchased together. We've been separated 3 months now because I had stopped attending the school."
Wow.
Look at that. Imagine that. You stop attending the school, and they'll act like they don't do that kind of thing, but they do control marriages and get in your business that way, don't they, Bree?
They certainly do.
But they'll let IUIC tell it, and they'll say they don't.
There's things